The County Line is the proud loft sponsor for New Mexico Living.
Bridging the gap between the living and the dead. It sounds like something you'd only see in the movies, right? But for Tyler Henry, ever since he was 10 years old, that's been his reality. Tyler is a medium whose career has taken the world by storm, and now his live show, it's making a stop right here in the Duke City. I got to talk with Tyler about his journey as a medium and what audiences are in store for at his show. Take a look. Albuquerque, we are in for quite the treat. That's because medium Tyler Henry, his tour is making a stop right here in Albuquerque. The tour is called An Evening of Hope and Healing, and I'm joined by Tyler Henry today. Tyler, thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, thank you for having me, and shout out Albuquerque. I'm so excited to get to visit.
Tyler's never been, and he's never had the green chili before, too. Something he will be trying when he gets here. You don't need a medium to know that this green chili is amazing.
Okay.
Tyler, thank you so much for joining us today. You just finished 24 weeks of a live show on Netflix. That was called Live from the Other Side with Tyler Henry. What was that like?
It was so surreal. Live television is a whole other beast. It's unedited. There's no safety nets, and it's much like the live shows that I do. Anything can happen, and there's a degree of vulnerability when it comes to that. But audience responded. It got extended to 24 episodes. I sat with everyone from Kristen Chenoweth to Rob Gronkowski for all the men out there. So it was a really special experience.
Yeah, you got to talk to a bunch of influential individuals during this live show, 24 weeks. That's really impressive. Now you're on a nationwide tour, and the tour is called Tyler Henry, An Evening of Hope and Healing, live audience readings as well. Talk to us about this tour and what we're in store for, and why now? Why the tour now?
Well, it's such a cathartic experience. Everyone comes and everyone has a story, and of course, generally hopes to be read. And by the end of it, you see people, and they've developed friendships and relationships sometimes even after the show, which is so interesting. And I find that really the first show is focused on just explaining a little bit about who I am, what I do, the logistics of what I believe informs this ability. And then we get to the live audience readings. And whether you're seated in the front row or the very back, it's equal opportunity. I go all across the audience, and I love being able to be surprised myself.
You absolutely are doing great stuff. I want to talk about the difference between maybe a mind reader and a medium. What is the difference here?
Well, the psychic phenomenon is complicated, and so there's often a lot of overlap. But when it comes to mediumship, medium is a conduit for information. Mind readers generally fall more into the category of mentalism, which I find that when I do readings, information will often come through that the person I'm connecting with doesn't even know about until they check in later. So that for me is ruled out mind reading, but psi is a very complicated ability.
Right. So you're basically bridging that gap between the living and the dead.
That's the goal, and using hopefully meaningful coincidences as a conduit to get there.
Well, your shows are very emotional too. You see a lot of emotion in your shows. This means a lot to people, right? When we lose a loved one, we miss them, right? We want to be able to maybe know that they're doing okay. And you're really bridging that gap here with what you do. What's something you think will surprise audiences at your show?
I think the mutual vulnerability that's there when I go out into an audience and I have to just have faith in my impressions, in the kind of random or not so random nature of how these impressions come through. It's really amazing when that is met and you see that gap bridged and the validation that comes across. I just recently did a reading, and it was fascinating. A woman had a man come through who had been thrown from a cherry picker, and I was getting the nickname of like an animal, and his nickname was Bear. And this was not somebody she was anticipating hearing from, and it was just unknowable. It was mind-blowing, and it just goes to show we are a lot more connected than we realize.
A lot more connected than we realize, indeed. You're also offering, before I talk about this first, I want to talk about you as a medium. Your story is kind of interesting. You started realizing that you had this ability when you were young. Talk to me a little bit about how you got to becoming a medium. This is a very interesting story here.
Sure. Well, I had a premonition when I was 10 years old. That was April of 2006. And I basically just woke up one night with a knowingness that my grandmother was going to die. And at the time, it genuinely felt like a memory that had already occurred. And I was just recollecting it. It was the weirdest thing. And I went into the room to try to explain this feeling to my mom. And within moments, we received the phone call from my dad that he had just watched my grandmother pass away. So that was the catalyst. But, at that age, you don't recognize it as an ability. I think we all have an intuition. And I think a lot of people can relate to that experience who aren't even mediums.
And then here you are today
and it's just taking you on this wild journey in life. You're offering something really cool for your fans, because obviously we can come see you in person. You're doing this thing called virtual group readings now. Talk to us about this.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It gives people the opportunity to be able to connect and potentially receive impressions all across the world. So people tune in through a platform called Fireside. It's called the Tyler Henry membership site, and we teamed up with Mark Cuban and Fallon Fatami to start this. It's been an amazing opportunity to be able to connect with different cultures, places where people might not be able to come, to a live show in person. And we get to wear our pajamas and hang out every week. I do private reading giveaways, virtual group readings. And it's just a really beautiful community.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome. Anytime you team up with Mark Cuban, you're in good hands, right? Last but not least, I want to ask you, what would you say to those out there who maybe are skeptical of the work that you do? What would you say to those people?
I think skepticism is implicitly valuable, and I think we should never lose our critical thinking. What I view what I do is really that of subjective, not so much objective. It's transformational, it's more akin to creativity and love, the ineffable, the kind of inexplainable in some respects. And I think that generally there are two types of people: those who believe in the value of meaningful coincidences and those who don't. And for those who do, I'm here, and I hope to be able to provide some validations that hopefully affirm and help a person move forward in the right direction.
Well, guys, I got to say, this show is going to be something to see. You got to see it and experience in person to believe it. Tyler Henry, An Evening of Hope and Healing. You're coming to Albuquerque. Give us the details. When are you coming? What time is the show? Where can we go for tickets?
That's right. Well, I'm coming on May 16th and 18th. I'll actually be in 2 states. So I'm looking forward to it. Yes, Albuquerque. I'm coming to you very soon. That show's typically at 8 p.m. Generally anywhere from, 1,400 to 2,000 people. But we make it feel like a living room. So it's going to be a great time.
Guys, do not wait. Go get your tickets. It's going to be a remarkable evening. Tyler Henry, An Evening of Hope and Healing. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to welcome you with open arms here in Albuquerque. You got to go get a breakfast burrito, green chili cheeseburger as well. I'm telling you, my friend, it'll change your life.
I love it. I will report back, and I look forward to seeing you there.
Tyler Henry, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. I so appreciate you. And send my love to your wife.
Now, Tyler's show did get canceled back in May, so his show will be taking place this Thursday now, September 11th, at the Kiva Auditorium. You can find tickets on his website, thetylerhenrymedium.com. And to see my entire conversation with Tyler again, head over to krqe.com. Click on that New Mexico Living tab. Stay with us. We'll be right back.